Very soon, federal regulators will announce that children as young as 5, in other words, kindergartners, will be eligible to take the COVID-19 vaccine. Now, Mike, up till now, only those who wanted to participate in sports teams were required to be vaccinated. Are we going to see an expansion of this program? And frankly, are parents going to accept that?
Well, I think we will see an expansion of the program, and we already have a vaccine program and requirements for students to be vaccinated before they go to school. And so I don't see that this is out of that norm. I think we obviously continue to need to see what the FDA is, what the clinical trials are telling us, what the studies are saying, and make sure that information is there and available. But I think if we're seeing the safety and the efficacy that we've seen so far, then yes, I think it makes sense for us to have that available for students and to make sure that students are vaccinated like they are on other diseases.
But the question arises, and Mark, I hope I'm not cutting you off on this, is that students are the least susceptible to COVID-19. So is it really necessary that they be vaccinated? And again, there are a lot of questions about the safety of the vaccine.
There are questions, although I'd point out one of the stranger statistics, and I can only describe it as strange, is from the CDC, is the indication that Montgomery County is 99.5% vaccinated, which I think is fairly fair. I'll go out on a limb that's not really the case, which actually raises all sorts of questions about the statistics in general. But more to the point is the really good news about Montgomery County is that we're reaching a point now, an important threshold of essentially of less than 500 new cases per day. Is actually a statistic based on 100,000, but multiplying out by a million people, which takes us down to a point where the indications are we won't need to mask, and more to the point is we have fewer cases going forward. So this really may be that we're kind of continuing an old war when in fact, I hate to say, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We've actually kind of turned the corner on COVID.
Well, doesn't this also dovetail into the issue, the tug of war between the county executive and the council, or at least some council members, over vaccination of county employees? Mike?
Well, I'm not sure they're necessarily, yes, obviously all vaccine issues seem to all kind of blur in together. I think the challenge that you're seeing in the county and in the county executive and the county council discussion is the challenge that you're seeing about having your public safety officers not be vaccinated and effectively trying to serve the public while not being vaccinated. And can we be in a position to mandate that? And really, the point is actually the distinction they're making is, does the council have the authority to do that, or does the county executive have the authority? And so, so people are saying are they vaccinating or not vaccinating, and they're trying to actually have a debate on who has the authority to say who can do what. And so it's really interesting because you've got a couple pieces running into each other. But I think it makes sense for your public safety officials to be vaccinated if they're going to be serving the public and not putting the public at risk.
Well, how do they put the public at risk, Mark? If someone is protected, how does an unprotected person cause a greater danger? One
of the underlying debate questions in all of this is, there's vaccination, and then there is potentially the immunity that comes from having been exposed to COVID and having developed a natural immunity on top of that. I think we're focusing way too much on vaccination and turning it into kind of a virtual signaling debate. And what we really need to be focusing on is the drop in cases that's taking place in under a variety of scenarios. But that's probably a conversation that we don't have enough time to talk about.
Well, I hope we don't get ahead of ourselves, and I hope we don't find ourselves in the same position we did a year ago, where
right.
when winter weather set in, we were all forced indoors, and we saw an increase in the number of cases. So let's just keep our fingers crossed and pray that this is going to pass very soon. We have to go on. When we come back from this short break, all eyes are on Virginia's governor's election, but what does it mean to Maryland?